O-line has been a concern of ours, especially in protection of Tua. I mean, if Tua didn't get the ball out in 2.3 seconds, what does that offense look like?
Right.
And so the Dolphins, as we know, have had some changes on their offensive line. So we know Robert Hunt and Connor Williams gone, Isaiah Wynn starting training camp on the PUP list. Are you surprised Miami didn't do more to address this offensive line in this offseason, especially knowing the high contract that they were about to give their quarterback?
I am. I'm always honest with folks when they ask me what's my biggest question about the Dolphins. It's the offensive line to me. I think that if we're looking at this team in December and January and wondering why they didn't achieve their goals, I think it's because the offensive line came apart. I think one thing that's a skill of Tua's that people don't necessarily realize is he minimizes a lot of their issues on the offensive line. Like last year, I give Tua and their offensive line coach Butch Berry a lot of credit because they had an endless amount of rotations and new people in and injured people in. And that offensive line was not in great shape, but yet they were getting through games with 0 or 1 or 2 sacks. And a lot of that is on how you coach up guys, but also if your quarterback leads the NFL in time to throw like Tua does with that quick release, it helps the offensive line. That being said, it's hard to consistently win that way. And so I am concerned about the offensive line, particularly the interior. You know, Teron Armstead, when he's on the field, is one of the best 3 to 5 left tackles in football, even at his age. On the field is the big key because obviously he's had some injuries in the past. But you have depth with Kendall Lamb. You have long-term depth in Patrick Paul. And Austin Jackson kind of revitalized his career last year at right tackle. So I'm not as much concerned, honestly, about the tackle spot. But the interior of the offensive line is definitely a huge concern for me. You lose Connor Williams. Bring in Aaron Brewer, who's a very athletic center. But I do wonder how he's going to be able to survive in the pass game. You know, you got a guy in Aaron Brewer who's already had a lot of missteps as far as snap connection with Tua in training camp. I was there in practice yesterday and the day before, and I saw at least 3 or 4 botched snap exchanges. Now, Connor Williams and Tua had some of those early in camp last year, and they got it figured out. So I'm not panicking yet, but it is something to watch. And so, you know, that spot. And then even at the guard spots, you know, a lot of people talk about the competition that you're going to have between Liam Eichenberg and Jack Driscoll and some other guys at that right guard spot. And that's certainly a key spot. But at left guard, you got Isaiah Wynn, who, although he started and played well for 6 or 7 games, he's out with a quad injury. He hasn't been practicing yet, and there's no timetable. So this is a guy who hadn't played a game in almost a year, and you're kind of penciling him in at left guard with no worries. It just makes me queasy. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it real with you. It makes me queasy. I'm not the GM here, and clearly Chris Grier has some I guess, some confidence in this group that maybe I'm not ready for. But we're going to see how it goes through camp. I'd anticipate, you know, they keep an eye on the waiver wires when we get towards cut time. There's always, you know, we trade our depth for your depth. But everyone's looking for offensive line help. So I get it. It's probably not a lot of options out there that they feel great about. But if you ask me, my number one concern about this team right now, it's the offensive line.